congratulations. You raised $2 million? And how many seats does the?
152.
152 seats. We sang for Dee, when Dee directed us in 1994, when they opened up the junior high school, she directed Music Man. And guess what? We got the Music Man, the school board is here right now. Have a seat right here, please. Okay, guys.
You might want to say who you are.
I am one of the 4 guys that sings in Music Man. Do you remember the show, the movie, Music Man? Do you remember the quartet that sang in Music Man along with Robert Preston and Shirley Jones? That was the Buffalo Bills, 1950 International Barbershop Quartet champions that sang Music Man. They were the school board, they hated each other. So at any rate, Dee said we stole the show. So we've got 3 out of the 4 original guys in the quartet just because of you. We came all the way, one guy came all the way from Oconomowoc. So we'd like to sing a couple of real quick songs. Let's see if you can guess the name of this song. Lisa, you don't count, you can't. You know what it is. We're going to sing the verse, which is the first part of the song, and then we'll go into the chorus and you'll figure out what it is. Who's that coming down the street? Who's that looking so petite? Who's that coming down to meet me here? Who's that, you know who I mean? Sweetest who you've ever seen. I could tell her miles away from here. Yes, sir, that's my baby. No, sir, don't mean maybe. Yes, sir, that's my baby now. Yes, ma'am, we've decided. No, ma'am, we won't hide it. Yes, ma'am, you're invited now. Yes, right now. By the way, by the way, by the way, by the way, when we reach the preacher, I'll say with feeling, yes, sir, that's my baby. No, sir, don't mean maybe. Yes, sir, that's my baby now, right now. By the way, by the way, by the way, by the way, when we reach the preacher, I'll say, here's that wedding ring. Yes, sir, that's my baby. No, no, sir, don't mean maybe. Yes, sir, that's my baby now. Yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir, don't mean maybe. That's my baby, that's my baby now. Yes, sir. And Music Man hated each other. They could not get along at all. And one of the songs that we end up with the this is our makeup. By the way, Ken lives in Verona, and he was the baritone in Music Man. I sang bass, and Roger sang tenor, and Jim drove all the way from Oconomowoc, and he sings the melody, the lead. And I think you'll recognize this song that is called Light a Rose.
Light a rose, I'm home again, Rose, to get the sun back in my sky. Light a rose, I'm home again, Rose, about 1,000 kisses
advantage on my.
How special. They didn't tell me they were going to do that. That's a hard act to follow.
And Ken, the guy that lives in Verona, is 94 years old.
They surprise me all the time. They sang to me on Valentine's Day. Okay, so back to the beginnings of the ACT, and thank you to you people and thank you to those people. I have to say before they leave that when we decided to do Music Man, I did a very smart thing. And I cast them before I cast anybody else. I thought, why would I go to the trouble of making a quartet when they're already made? So Jim went to my church, I asked him, they all took it on. Roger came to every rehearsal, got the blocking for the 4 of them so they didn't have to come all the time. And then when they just came and he told them where to stand, and they almost always stand in a line, so it was fun. They did steal the show. I have told them that for years, but it was the smartest thing I ever did, was casting those guys.
God bless Dave.
Okay, back to the beginnings of the ACT. So, I have been in a community theater group in the area, and I said, Verona's big enough, we should have our own theater group. But I didn't plan to do it myself. I thought somebody else could do that. And I got tricked. What'd you say, down? At the time, Bill Schrader was doing these features in the Verona Press. And he would do a feature on a person every week. And he called me and he said, I hear you, well, actually he called John first at home and said, I hear your son is going to start a theater group in Verona. And John said, oh no, not my son, my wife. So he called me up and he interviewed me. Well, in those days, I was so shy that I would not let him put my picture in the paper by myself. So I was directing these 4-H kids at the time, and I made him take the picture of me with the kids. So that's how it all began. Down here in the corner of the article, it says, if you're interested in community theater, contact Dee. Bill Schrader said, we'll put the article in the paper, there'll be all these people come out, you won't have to do a thing. He lied. So that's how it began. So we had 2 meetings after this. We had the first meeting, we had a lot of people come, but when they realized that nothing was started yet, we were just getting off the ground, they didn't want to work that hard, so they went away. But I did find 2 women who were interested in hanging around. And one was Jeannie Pitch, who I'd never met, and the other was Tara Rognes, who played in it was called the Verona Community Band at that time. So the 3 of us set forth to do this project. This was May, so we had 2 meetings in May, and we decided we're going to do something this year. We're not going to wait till next year to do something, we're going to do something this year. So we got going, and I knew of a 1-act play that I thought was pretty funny, and I knew I had some women who would sing. So we decided to do our first show, and there were 8 women that sang, and Karen Rognes gathered all music. She went to the high school, and they let her look through their music. So we sang some show tunes, and then we did this little show with, it was really my son and all his friends, and not some ladies. And we did this show, and we had no money. So I contacted all the local groups to see if any could give us a little money to get started, and everybody was very supportive, they just didn't have any money to give us. The chamber just built that park at Harry Park, and so nobody had any money to give us, but the Battle of the Bands, they still had the Battle of the Bands as part of Hometown Days, and they said, if you sell tickets to the Battle of the Bands, we'll give you $125. So our budget to begin with, $125. We did 2 shows, and when we got done, we had $400. Here we go. That fall, the director at the middle school directed a little show called Angel Street. These were all in the scrapbook, and I thought, we got great coverage in those days. Sometimes we'd get 2 full pages of pictures. Bill Schrader was so supportive of our group. So this is a little bit of that. Then the next summer, we went for the big musical. And at the same time as I was starting this group, Wanakee was starting a group. That guy took a second mortgage on his house. No way am I taking a second mortgage on my house. So I had written grants for the band, the Verona Community Band, so I knew how to write grants. So I wrote a grant, and I found out that CTM, or Madison Theater Guild, I think it was Madison Theater Guild, had all the costumes for Sound of Music. So I thought, I'll have the costumes, I'll write the grant. So I wrote a $1,000 grant for Dane County Cultural Affairs Commission, and I got it. And so we did Sound of Music, and I chose Sound of Music because I knew we would get kids, and I knew we had those women that were in the show last year. So they were the nuns, kids came out, 2 men auditioned. One of them played the captain, the other one played the butler. What was I going to do about all those Nazis? Well, all those kids had parents. So I cast 2 basses, so I had a bunch of basses, and Pat Worley was in it. Her daughter was one of the kids. Who else was in that that's here? Anybody else? No. Okay. So I counted, and there were 48 people. I think that's right. 48 people in the second show. There was 48 people on that stage. So now I've got 48 people involved, and I didn't know how to do budgets. So I said, okay, if 100 people came and we charged them $5, I mean, this much money. We set up the chairs, we had all the chairs set up. People came pouring in. We were setting up chairs, setting up chairs, setting up chairs, setting up chairs. We had no clues that this community would support us the way they did. There were so many people extra that came in. We were going to turn them away. After that, we had a nice little sum of money to get going because we sold a lot of tickets to this show. Let's see if I wrote anything else I didn't tell you. Yep, that's it. Oh, we had an orchestra. At first musical, we had a live orchestra. It was amazing. And we put them behind there. They had to play from behind that set. This is the step room at the middle school. And the acoustics weren't wonderful, and we hadn't gotten involved with much sound yet. We got 1 microphone and we put it on Maria, but everybody else. And the sound in that step room would go up and back, not out to where the people were. So we knew we had a problem with that we had to work on. And this set designer, I actually paid a set designer in our second show, and she designed this wonderful set. These were individual flats that just ran into each other. It was beautiful. They each sat on a step.
Dee, how did you get your orchestra? Were they just individuals that came together?
You know, I can't remember how I did that. Well, I knew those band people because I had played in that band.
Okay,
so maybe I got them from there. All right. Then that fall we did another little show that I had been involved in my youth, and I knew it was funny. And so we did a Bull in the China Shop about a bunch of old ladies that kill each other off to get the attention of the detective. So that was the show. So this was fun when we're still in the step room. Next year, music band. I did another grant because we didn't have that much money, so I did another grant with Dane County Cultural Affairs Commission. I always give them the credit for getting us going because those grants were wonderful, free money. So we solved the problem of the sound going up and out by building out 4 feet from the stage. But the middle school wouldn't let us put it up until the week after school was out. So we practiced in that regular space the whole time, and then all of a sudden I want them to go out to 4 feet. So I did a contest. Every time you stepped out onto the 4-foot platform, you got a mark and who got the winning. But it really helped. Also, we got more microphones, so we got the sound out into the audience. We had great crowds again. And I counted in this show, there were, Music Man, 66 people. So we just kept getting bigger cast. Marie Kyle, who some of you know, was a brand new teacher here. I had said I would direct the first year, but I really started this theater group so that I could participate. So I wanted somebody else to direct, but that didn't happen. So I was directing and producing again, and I needed a music director, so I called Marie Kyle, and I said, somebody suggested you, I think you'd be great. And she said, oh, I'm too young, I don't think I could do that. I said, great, I'll see you next Tuesday. That's the way she tells the story, I don't know if it's true. Anyway, after we auditioned all these people, I said, and you're all in the show. And we did, we put them all in, so. And there they are, the 66 people. It was a very fun show. And here's the Makita Men. That show, we built our own sets. That was the first time that we built our own. Up to that, we've been using the high schools. We built our own sets. And we donated them to the high school because we didn't have any place to keep them. Those flats are still there. We still use those flats. 25 years later, those flats are still there. That's Ray down at the bottom. Brett Ketterer, you know Brett Ketterer? And there they are. So this one wasn't here. So this is Roger and Jim. This one wasn't here today. So, but they were wonderful. And there's the orchestra. Missy Paust directed it. Okay, this is 1997. So this is the corner of Cross Country and M, where the dentist sits right now. There was a barn that sat there. I want to save that barn for the VACT so bad. So we dressed up in costume and we went out there and the kids marched around with signs in the shape of barns. The TV even came out and interviewed us. We were going to save that barn. I went to Iowa for the weekend, and when I got home, there was a message on my machine from Bill Schrader. He said, Dee, they're burning the barn, where are you?
Oh.
So we did, but we were thinking about our own facility in 1997. So it didn't take us long to start to think about it. Then we did Charlie's Aunt, which was the first show that we did in the new theater. And I think we used our own flats, but they were living at the high school at the time. Then we did another big musical, Fiddler on the Roof. And we did a beautiful set for this, which was made out of the barn boards of our barn. But that was a beautiful set. Big cast, I think there was 72 in this one. And okay, there's the whole cast on the set. I did count them. 79. Hey, so we're all of 5 years old, and we're going to take on an original musical. We did. We did Dracula the musical, and was it very successful? No, it wasn't. But we didn't lose any money on it, and it was fun. So that was one of our early accomplishments. I think we were so dumb we didn't know any better. We just did whatever. All right. Wizard of Oz, first time we did it. 143 people. 143 people. Were we crazy? Probably. In this area, every community theater will tell you that we are crazy because we cast lots of people. we just don't like to turn them away. So we cast them. There were 43 munchkins. They appeared in the first scene, and then they went away. And then we were down to 100. That was easy to deal with. Oh, and we weren't rich enough to have real flying in that show. So the witch did not fly. Glenda's did not come in a balloon. She walked in smoke. But I wanted to fly a monkey, and I wanted the Tin Man to fly. So we did. And if you want to know how, I'll tell you. We did fly. When we did it the second time, we were smart enough and rich enough that we had a flying company, and it was wonderful. But this wasn't bad.
I think we want to know how.
How?
You said you tell us to know how. How did you fly the Tin Man and the monkey?
Well, there are pipes in the high school. So we just attached to one of those pipes, but we had to figure out a way. So the monkey, we attached him off stage, and as he ran, they lifted him so he went up as he went up. So it looked like he was flying. So it took somebody on those ropes that was talented and brought him up. And then the Tin Man, all he had to do was go up the floor this far. And that was easy. We bought a harness, and we just lifted him up, and he went, "Ghosts, I'm not afraid of ghosts." And then they fly him up, and he goes, "Ah!" And he goes, so that's how we did it. Okay. Then, the time to remember. This is the one that you saw if you were here early. So the Verona Varieties were a show that had been done in Verona in the, when? No, okay. So I think they quit in the 60s.
At 50, well, we started Sunday in 1956.
Okay, so they went from 56 through the 60s. And they started in the Catholic Church as a fundraiser for the Catholic school.
The Verona Grade School and
And then they inspired, and they had so much fun they went out and did it for both schools. So, and they wrote their own scripts and produced them for many, many years. So when we did the Quasquicentennial, I don't know how you talked me into this, John. So we produced a show for the Quasquicentennial that was a Verona variety. And Molly Freitag had all of the Verona variety stuff in a box. And so we hunted through there and picked out the music we were going to sing out of that pile of music. And then B. Keller, I think B. Keller wrote the script, but Ed Faber was in there too. I don't know how exactly it was. But I ended up producing and directing this show. And I was also producing Oliver at the same time. I went a little crazy, but anyway. I thought it was narrated by B and Ed, but by the picture it looked like it was narrated by B and Ed and Molly and me and Bev.
You did a beautiful job of that.
Anyway, it was very fun. I think we did 2 shows on Saturday, or maybe we did one on Saturday and one on Sunday. We did 2 shows on the weekend of the Quasqui, and it was very fun. And as you can see, we did full costumes from if you saw the thing before, we did full costumes, and we rehearsed, and it was a real variety show. And it wasn't the Sesquicentennial, he tells me it was the Quasqui. But anyway, that was the best of my memory.
I was indoors.
Yes.
No, that was the Sesquicentennial, 150 Sesqui. Yeah, Quasqui's 125.
Okay, so it was Sesqui. Okay, all right.
She came back as a note. She was a note.
I know, yes, yeah. She tap danced.
On dress rehearsal, we were doing dress rehearsal, and I fell. And, I was so embarrassed. But then I got to thinking at the end of the, Dee was saying, now are there anything we should be doing or what should be happening in the show? So I asked Dee when I should fall.
I about had a heart attack. She just went straight down. She went, shunk. And then she apologized. I'm sorry I fell down. It's like, oh, we were so worried about her, but she was fine, she just got up. So that same year we did Oliver, and that's why if you watched it before and Roger was singing in the quartet, the reason he had that scruffy beard was because he played the lead. Oh, he says I have a waiter. Oh, look at this. This is Roger Roethlisberger. So he played the lead in that show. And this is Marilyn Shohaney, if you know Marilyn and David. They're so involved in the Ice Age show. Anyway, that was a fun show. Whoops, I was just going to point out, I was younger once. So I had the fun time of being, I told you I started this group so I could act, so I had the fun thing of being in every show up until Once Upon a Mattress. And people would just write me into the shows so that I could appear. So I was the Alfred Hitchcock of VACT for many, many years. And could you find me in the show, because I was in there. One show I just came out and watered the flowers and went off, that's all I did. Okay. So when Monona Terrace opened in 1997, they asked a whole bunch of people if they wanted to come and perform, and we took it on. So there we are, singing. We did a lot of gigs in those days where we would just go out and sing for anybody who wanted us to sing. And so we did a show here. We always did Light a Rose and what's that duet? Dream of night, dream of day. What is that song?
Night.
Anyway, so that's probably what we're doing here, because we're all wearing piccolo dresses. And this must be from Oliver, because these are Oliver costumes. So I don't know what we did, but that's a pretty special thing that we did, I think. 98 we did Harvey, which was cool because we did a really fancy set for that. This centerpiece turned around, and became the asylum, the hospital where they take him. And if you want to know what who is that? Owens. Rick. Owens, that's Harvey right there.
Oh.
Okay, 98, we did Joseph of the Basic Color Dreamcoat. It was so popular at that time, everybody did it that year. Middleton did it, Madison Theater Guild did it, Sun Prairie did it, everybody did it that year. We did it, and we knew it would sell really well, so we even added an extra show. That was the first show we ever did 7 shows instead of 6. We started selling out on Wednesday. We sold 704 seats on Wednesday. We sold 704 seats on Thursday. We sold 704 seats on Friday. And Saturday, there were so many people came to that show that Dave Watts was selling standing room only tickets. So when the fire department came in, he said to Dave, maybe you should move those people over there. And Dave said, okay. And so I don't know how many tickets we sold that last night, because we had set up a whole bunch of chairs, they were all filled, and people were standing. So this was the show that really put Verona on the map. People came to this show and knew we were here. I often say that the Verona Community Theater is the best kept secret in Dane County, because we're stuck out here, we do great theater, but nobody knows. But this was the one where, and he's cast 123 people. So there they all are. That's what 123, and he was so creative. So he came up with this idea of the Cloud Babes. He called this, and we sang the chorus up in that cloud. And I wasn't going to be in that show. I thought, I don't know if I want to be in that show. That was so fun. That was such a fun show. And of course, Roger Roethlisberger knocked him dead as the Pharaoh. That was a great show. But it was a really big one for us because it sold so well. There's some more people. You can see the cloud on that. Whoops. We put so much stuff into making that cloud.
Gee, where did you get most of the costumes from?
We made them. We made them, except the Joseph coat. Sun Prairie had the Joseph coat, and everybody used Sun Prairie's Joseph coat, so we had the Joseph coat. But otherwise, I think it was Missy Holcomb. I'm pretty sure it was Missy Holcomb that ran this thing. We did get some of the brothers' costumes from Sun Prairie too. Sun Prairie's been really good to us through the years. They have a lot of good stuff over there. And then it was Dave's idea, you know, at the time, all the kids in Joseph wore t-shirts and they were outside of the show. So the narrator was telling them this story. So in the Broadway show, they sat along the sides in their little t-shirts. Well, Dave wanted those kids to be little Israelites. And so they all had tunics. We still have those tunics. They're still there in shows. Watch for those tunics. Anyway, so he had those kids as part of the show. He did a really nice job of including those 40 maybe kids in the show. But so that was Joseph. So up to this point, we were doing 2 shows, a fall show, or a summer show, and a winter show. And in '99, there was a proposition to do Steel Magnolias as a fall show. And Rusty Bishop and Rick Owens directed it. And I bought this set from the university. They had done Steel Magnolias the year before, and so I contacted them. I said, what would you sell that set for? And they said $900. I said, sold. So that was a really great set, and we still have a whole bunch of that stuff because we bought a whole bunch of stuff from them. So that was a fun one. Now we're up to 3 shows. The second fall show was Ferber Plaid, and Brian Schultz, who directed that one, or I produced it. I don't know what he did. I don't know. Anyway, he directed it. He had an assistant director. That's what he did. And he wanted to give the proceeds to the food pantry. Oh, that sounded like a good thing, so he wrote it on all the posters. Well, this thing sold like wildfire. The proceeds of that show was $7,400. The food pantry had so darn much money, they gave every bitty person at that time, their clients, $100 to go Christmas shopping for their kids, because we had given them I've been saying, for a lot of years, I've been saying $8,000, but we gave them $7,400. It's in the book. Now I gotta not say 8,000 anymore. Okay, here's Once Upon a Mattress. Do I have anything I want to say about Once Upon a Mattress? No. Okay. Although this was a show that the costumes were so fancy that this was the first time we rented all the costumes. So all those fancy costumes were rented. Then we did Annie, and Roger Roethlisberger directed. He's never been back since. I think we ruined him for life. But he worked with a slew of little girls. Then we did Hey, My Name is Alice, which was a fun show. Can't Take It With You. And we've got this guy. Turns out this guy was a professional actor. He'd been taking off. He was wonderful. Now he's done a lot of theater in Madison, but we were the first one to bring him back on stage. 2002, we're 10 years old. They made me this lovely quilt. It's over there. Those are the t-shirts from all of the shows that we did in the first 10 years. So we did an encore, and what we did was we picked songs that we liked from all the musicals that we had done up to that point. And it was a very fun show. Very hard show, but very fun show to do. If you were the lead in that show, we gave you the opportunity to play it in the encore. So scads of people came back, 108 people in fact in that show. And the State Journal got wind of what we were doing and did this article on the Verona's theater founder still loves theater. And I got to, even though I was directed, I got to do my numbers, so it was very fun to do that. So now we're 10 years old, and it was my goal that we would be in our own building by the 10th year. That was my goal. So at this point, I was already working on it. We looked at every barn. I had a barn in my head. We looked at every barn that the Dane County Parks had. He took us around. What was that guy's name? That was the head of. I think of Forest. What was it? No. So anyway, he took us around. Mark and I went and looked at every barn in this area that was part of Dane County Parks. And he really wanted us to take a barn, but there just wasn't a barn that was right for what we wanted to do. And the amount of money it would have taken to take that barn and make it work for us just wasn't going to work. So then we started bugging the city for some free land to set a new building on. We decided we would build new, and we went to 1 million meetings. And sat there, and they were building the VACT building, you know, with the Verona, what is that, athletic thing, where, anyway, they were building that at the time. I sat through every meeting about that, so if you want to know anything about that, I can tell you. So, the city showed us several pieces of property that maybe we could put a building on, and we ended up with 104 Ruth Street, which is where the old sewage treatment plant used to be. So, and actually, I have to say that that facility worked out wonderful for us for 13 years. It was wonderful. Let me see if I have any pictures of that. Oh, I'm going the wrong way. Oh, no, what I have of that is the ribbon cutting. So we had a grand opening in 2004, and moved into our new building. That building was a godsend, and I'll tell you that in the Wisconsin area, because I'm on the state board, so people have come to our facility many times, and even that old coal barn is pretty great for theater as compared to what other people have in the state. So that was a great facility for us for a lot of years, and we were thrilled. At the time that we moved into this, we had our stuff stored in Dale sent me some pictures of it, I didn't put them in. We had 2 of those storage garages out at Dependable. We had a whole bunch of stuff out at Roethlisberger's. We had a whole bunch of stuff at Watts Landscape. The office was at my house. All that stuff that I'd collected for 10 years lived at my house, so I was really happy to move that to the building. So that was 2004, new building. 2005, for years and years and years before that, we had said, we need to do kids shows, we need to do kids shows, but we didn't have the energy to take on kids shows. But luckily, Terry DeVore, who's in the back, did have the, wave Terry. Terry did have the energy to take on kids. So in 2005, woo, what did I do? Did I turn it off?
No, I got this.
Okay. We took on kids. And we did a little show in at Fitchburg School.
Savannah Oaks.
Stony Prairie?
Savannah Oaks.
Savannah Oaks, the first one. Savannah Oaks. So we were in the step room, and it held 150 or 100 people, and we thought this will be fine. The tickets sold out so fast we had to add another show. So those poor kids had to perform at 1, 2, and 3, I think. And the show was only a half hour, but still they did 3 shows in one day. And the flats, I think I remember hauling those flats, so I borrowed those from maybe the Oregon schools. And then The kids helped paint them, I think, I don't know. But anyway, that was Ratson. Our first kids show. Then in 2008, they added a second kids show, and they did Annie and Billy Goat's Gruff, so they added a little kids show first. And then in 2010, those kids had grown up and they didn't want to be done, so Terry started a teen show. So in 2010, and we couldn't get into the Verona Theater that year because there just wasn't room for us. So it was performed in Oregon. I knew the PAC director. Yeah, it was me. So, and everybody said when it appeared in the paper, how come the Verona Community Theater is performing in Oregon? And we said because we couldn't get in, and that happened only one more time. The community makes a difference. Then also that year, we added a holiday show, and we did White Christmas that year.
Oh, yeah.
And our barn boards appeared again. Roger built them into wonderful doors, so that was Holiday Inn. All right, and then in 2012, Terry said, these kids need more to do, so how about if I do a fall show for them? So now, 2012, we added a fall show. How many shows are we up to now? 6, like 7.
Oh.
8. This is up to 8, I think. 2012 was 20 years. It was my goal that we would be in our new building by 20 years. And we started, but we weren't there yet. This is celebrating the 20th year, and we did the same thing. We picked, although in that 10 years we had done 25 musicals. So it was really hard to pick who got, what songs got to be in. And this is some pictures from that musical, the encore. We had fun doing these encores, but they're a lot of work. All right, so then we started with the new building. This was the first design. We had a free architect to begin with, and he had designed this building. The interesting thing is the way we laid out the first building and the way the building turned out has hardly changed at all. We did a committee, we knew what we wanted, we knew how we wanted it to work, and it stayed the same throughout all of the architects that we worked with. This architect was free, but he went away. He lived in Minneapolis and he went home. Then we hired Case 4, and when I looked at this picture, I figured out why it didn't work. They designed us a wonderful, creative building, and they kept telling us, yep, we know what your budget is, we're within the budget, we're good, we're good, we're good, we're good. But look at the angles. Look at, this was popped out, this was on crooked. You know, they thought it had to be artistic, so they made all kinds of different angles. Well, that's expensive to build. And so it came in $500,000 over budget. And we just couldn't do it. We just couldn't. So we redesigned, more square, went to steel, instead of all brick, we went to steel. This came in $1 million less. $1 million less. So this is our new home, and we are so happy with it. This summer, Terry and her crew did 7 or 8 camps in there. Some during the day with kids, some at night with adults. It just does exactly what we need it to do. We are so happy in that new building. And we'd love to show it to you at our open house, which is Saturday, September 23rd. Is it 1 to 5, Terry?
Yes.
Yep. And this is our way of saying thanks to the community who has supported us for 25 years. I mean, the city has been behind us, the people have been behind us, the groups have been behind us. The restaurants even did dinners for us. I mean, we could not be more thankful for the help that we've gotten from the community, and this is our way of saying thanks. There'll be tours all day, so just stop by anytime. We'll show you around, and I hope to see you there. I'll take questions if anybody has any.
Does your new building have a place to add on to in the future?
No.
No, okay. So you'll always use the high school then?
Oh, you mean to
For your
perform?
shows?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Say, our place only has 150 seats, and we like to sell a whole lot more tickets than
Sure.
that. But we are going to perform one show this year in our new building. So every other year we do a non-musical, and so we're doing Bus Stop this year, and that will be in the new building
Oh, nice.
in February.
Do you see everybody attending?
Well, those non-musicals only get about 150 people, and boy, wouldn't we love to say, we sold out every night. You know, I because I'm on the state board, I'm dealing with a lot of theaters all over the state, and they say, oh, we sold out 6 shows, and then I say, what was the size of your house? 85. Like, ours is 700, but we have sold it out. We have sold it out. Yes?
You are just an amazing, amazing lady, and how much stuff that you went through to get this wonderful new building, and it's just unbelievable. And it's thanks ever so much to the, I don't live in Verona anymore, but the Verona community is, it's wonderful, and this is such a great part of it. Thank you.
If you want to look at these, I did bring these scrapbooks if you want to look at them. That's good. Okay.
Well, there were more questions.
Question.
Okay. Yes.
Do any of the cast members ever get paid, or is it always volunteer? Or?
Not only do the cast not get paid, most of the staff doesn't get paid. So I was recently at the national convention. So I don't know if you know, but there are, when Princess Grace became Princess Grace, she wanted to do a national theater festival. So she invited all the countries to come. And the US said, we don't have any way to choose who's our best shows, but we will the next time you ask. So one company said, we'll go. They went the first time, but by the next year, she does it, they did it every 4th year. There are national festivals every year, but Monica's only every 4th year. But anyway, they arranged for this. So there are competitions in the states, and then there are competitions in the regions, and then there are competitions in the national, and then those nationals go to international festivals. And that's a whole nother kind of theater. It's only 1 hour, and you have to take your set has to fit in a 10 by 10 box, has to get set up in 10 minutes. The performance has to be an hour, and then you have to get the set back in the box in 10 minutes. So that's the way that theater works. Anyway, I went to the nationals this year, and they were talking about, it was a workshop on how people could make a living in theater, and they had a panel, and at the end of that, the moderator said, and I want to recognize Dee Baldock, who just finished a $2 million building with only volunteers. And the people fell off their chairs. Because all the people that were at that national festival have staff that run their theaters. And we have run all these years on volunteers.
Including yourself.
Well, he's a farmer, so that way we don't get divorced. When he's farming, I can do theater. So. Yes?
I would just like to add one thing about Dee. When they were building this new building, I was lucky enough to be mayor, or I'm lucky enough to be mayor, I don't know. But Larry Sager and I, our administrators, we would be having a meeting and we'd see Dee was one of the talk about getting her land and getting her, and it just got to the place that this woman will not go away. Besides being very talented, I'll tell you, she is really, really dedicated to it, because some of the fights we put up, she probably would, a normal person would have walked away. She just came back tougher and tougher. So we got used to it and started working with it.
And here's what he said, when they finally voted us for us to have the land the first time. On TV, John Volker said, if Dee Baldock wants something, you might as well give it to her because she's not going to quit. On TV, he said that.